What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. You're watching Tom Trips Out, and in this episode we're talking about my cost of living in Kampot versus Phnom Penh. My name's Tom, this is my trip out.
Well, hey everybody, come along with me. Take a trip to a place to fight without sea. Meet people, eat food, see the joy they bring, and how much it costs to try new things. Well, come and watch me on my trip out. My name's Tom, this is my trip out.
All right, it's a nice breezy Sunday morning in Kampot. We're gonna walk through and talk about the different things I spend money on in my budget in a month and compare it to what I used to spend in Phnom Penh. Just one of my favorite streets with the palm trees here and everything. So one of your main expenses, anywhere you live, is your rent on your apartment, right? And I got such a good deal. I don't know if you've seen this video. You should go look for it now. Maybe I'll put a card right here. In Kampot here, I live in a bungalow and it's only $130 a month. And I have a front yard and fruit trees and it's great. A separate 1-bedroom inside and everything. But in Phnom Penh, it varies to what apartment you choose, but the latest one I had in Phnom Penh, I was paying $350 a month. So I'm saving $220 a month just only in the category of rent, just by existing here in Kampot. So that's one of the most significant differences between the cost of living here compared to Phnom Penh. One thing that doesn't change between Phnom Penh and Kampot is the utility bills. So it's still 25 cents per kilowatt for electricity, and water is usually just a few bucks. It's a little bit cooler in Kampot. There's a cool breeze that happens overnight. Even right now, there's a nice cool breeze happening. That's not to say it can't get hot. It gets extremely hot here too, but just at nighttime, it really cools down. And people say that from the city when they come visit here. Oh, it's so refreshing here in Kampot at nighttime. And even though electricity costs the same, you might be using your air conditioner a lot less. So you'll end up spending less on electricity because you won't be cranking your air conditioning so often here. You can deal with just the windows and the fans. So my rent is $130, and this past month when I paid my rent, the total with utilities and everything came to $150. So my water usage and electricity was only $20 for the month. But I go very easy on air conditioning. I barely use it. I only use it to cool down the room and then I shut it off again. So someone who uses more AC, you might spend more like $40 on utilities. It's kind of interesting. It's pretty busy. This is a Sunday morning at like 9:30. And I'm having trouble even crossing the road. There's people selling ice cream and toys and sunglasses and stuff. I think what it looks like is a big tour group, or maybe one or two of them pulled up to the Seahorse here. Let's go over and join them and we'll talk about the next part in my monthly budget that we can compare to the big city. Even have some squids on the barbecue here. So that reminds me, food. Here's some more too behind me. Got some snacks and peanuts and fruits. They put like chili salt and different things on top of it. But yeah, we can talk about, is food cost any different compared to living here or Phnom Penh? So relatively speaking, compared to the West, food in Cambodia in general is much cheaper anyways. So then when you get in Cambodia and compare different areas, the difference is not that big because it's already cheap to begin with. Like for instance, this morning I had a noodle soup and I got some clips of it. We can take a look right now. And this breakfast, it costs $2.25. And in Phnom Penh, that's pretty close to about the same price, depending where you go and all that. Food expense, it's as much as you want to spend, right? You could choose to save your money and stick to just local and basic food. If you wanted to, the sky's the limit here. There's all kinds of very nice restaurants here as well, from different countries too. There's Italian restaurants, Indian, there's Japanese, Mexican. These specialty ones have a higher price a lot of the time. But that being said, as long as you watch your spending, I can still stay within the $10 a day. I set myself for food. That's usually what I do. I eat out for every meal and I stay within $10. So here's an example. If you get some sort of specialty meal, because this beef's probably brought in from New Zealand or Australia, and it's going to be $8.50. Or if you want a ribeye, it's $15. So yeah, food is cheap here, but if you buy a ribeye every day, it could be expensive too. So you got to watch what you order. So drinks too, food and drink, right? So beers are very cheap in Cambodia. Like often just a regular price would be $1 for a beer, and then when there's happy hour or sales going on, it can be like 50 cents for a beer. In Kampot, a lot of the places here, very many have on their sign happy hour between 5 and 7. And happy hour is usually like 2 cocktails for the price of one, like buy one, get one free. And then they usually have like beers half price too. And we're gonna walk by one right now called Ricky Tiki Tavi. And a nice upstairs patio up here. If you're really watching your cost of living, then, you know, you should pick between 5 and 7 to go out to drink. It's a very nice breeze here and a view of the river and everyone walking by. Most of the resorts, guest houses, bars, they all do some sort of happy hour deal. This looks like a nice street to walk down. And we can talk about maybe cell phone and internet and that kind of stuff. So cell phone and internet, the prices are the same as Phnom Penh as they are in Kampot because it's the same carriers and companies. But what I've noticed is I spend a little more on my cell phone because I use my data more here in Kampot because I'm in more situations where the Wi-Fi sucks or there is no Wi-Fi or I'm out in the middle of nowhere. And you know, when I do live streams for YouTube, that really eats up a lot of the data too. And if I'm not somewhere that has Wi-Fi, that's all on the back of my data, you know. But data is so cheap. I pay $1.50 a week for 15 gig, and every week that renews. So in a month, that's $6 for 60 gig. But I run out a lot from the live streams and from going around and all that. So what I end up doing is it'll tell you, oh, you're running out, and you can just press a button and you can top up early. So you basically pay the next $1.50 like early. Let's say I do that like 3 times a month, so then that's just another $4.50. So I spend like maybe $10.50 a month on data. And you know, it might have been $3 cheaper in Phnom Penh because there was more Wi-Fi available. So in Kampot, I might spend 3 or 4 more on my phone because I'm doing more top-ups. And even where I live, it includes Wi-Fi. But all the little white houses there, we all share the same Wi-Fi. So there's a certain point at nighttime, usually between 7 p.m. till like 11, doesn't even work barely for me. Obviously, that's when everyone's going on it, you know, and then it gets bogged down with too many people on the same Wi-Fi. So usually between like 7 p.m. and 10 o'clock, I have to hotspot my cell phone, and then it works perfectly. And what I try to do to mitigate the cost is I make the resolution of what I'm watching, don't put it to full HD because then it's using even more data. So I put it to like 480, like just good enough that you don't notice any graininess. And then when it's riding off my phone, it's eating into it like half as much as if you had it on full resolution. The only downside is I think that's adding a little bit of wear and tear to my phone, constantly hotspotting it. It's making the battery drain faster, so then I have to charge it more often, and you're doing more cycles on the battery, and it's probably heating up a little, so it's probably shortening the lifespan of my phone doing that all the time, but whatever. I have these devices to use them, not to not use them. But you can set up your own Wi-Fi, and I believe it's somewhere between 15 and 20 a month to have your own Wi-Fi. And a lot of the cell phone carriers also do home Wi-Fi. All right, so transportation. There's not going to be much difference between Phnom Penh and Kampot with the transportation. It's the same tuk-tuk apps. I think that it's cheaper here in terms of how many kilometers you get with a tuk-tuk for when you're using the app, but it's just because everything's more spread out here. Renting a bike is a thing too, and those prices would be pretty similar in Kampot and Phnom Penh. But I think in Kampot, there's sometimes people who own a few motorbikes and they'll rent one out privately, and you could maybe save $10 a month by going with someone like them instead of a big rental company. Some of them were asking like 40 or 50 a month to have a motorbike. And places in Phnom Penh, it might say more like 70 or something. Like it's a small difference. I like this one little area. These trees, it reminds me of being in LA, like these types of palm trees they have here. You'll cross the road and look over at them because we're right underneath. We can't see them. I walk everywhere and it's fine as long as you're okay to sweat a little, 2 feet and a heartbeat. But like I said, I end up walking sometimes 10 kilometers in a day. Like to get to downtown, it's 3 kilometers. You know, then you walk around a bit, 2 more kilometers in the other direction. And then now to get home is 5 kilometers, and that's 10. And then you might have to adapt it to your own lifestyle, right? Because there's certain things you spend money on that I don't, and then vice versa. For instance, I don't do dating. And if you were going on a date once a week, that could heavily impact your thing if you're paying for the other person, right? You could spend like $80 on a date or more, I don't know, depending on what you do, right? If you do an $80 date once a week, that's $320 a month difference. That's all your savings gone if you date, basically. Okay, so the last thing I'll talk about is teacher salary. And I know that's not really a cost, but I feel like it relates to this topic because in a cost of living, you have to also factor in how much money do you have to work with each month, right? What's your income? In Kampot, there's far less opportunity for just jobs in general, let alone anything high paying. And a lot of the schools here would have a lower tuition and a much lower budget and be a smaller operation. Some schools don't even go the full day. Like you'll see at noon or 1 p.m. schools getting out, or even earlier sometimes. They just do half the day. So yeah, I hope that gives you a better idea on the cost of living between Kampot and Phnom Penh. And you could see why it was way to my advantage to move here, especially when I'm not teaching right now. And that's gonna do it for this episode. Thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button, and until next time, remember, how you spend your days is the way you spend your life. It's never too late to start tripping out.
My name's Tom, this is my trip out.